right, gentlemen, good morning again. I know we're running a little late here with the rain, and the parking, I think, was a problem this morning. If you come at 8 o'clock, there's no problem with the parking. And you can come at 8 o'clock and give us a hand with the veggies and the coffee and so forth, a couple of you. We can always use more help. In any case, welcome. We have, I know, some guests here today. I was told we're going to have 3 dozen guests, something like that. Is that right, Rob? About that? Will you raise your hand if you're a guest? Wow, we do have. Okay. All right, let's take a couple minutes before breakfast, and we'll really enjoy the breakfast. You want to stand up one at a time. Tell us what you did and where you live, what you did in real life, maybe your hobbies. You have 45 seconds each. Hold on.
I live in the wet press section.
No.
I can walk here. I've done it once. In 1975, I started an advertising agency. And that's what I did. So I like making presentations. What else?
Your name? Your name?
Yeah, my name? That's the hard part. I'm Don Kaplan. I became a member here the year it was built. This one was built. And the best thing I've done here is the special needs kids, the special needs teenagers. I was young enough that I was still running, and I formed a track team with these special needs teenagers, and 2 years in a row took them to New Jersey Special Olympics, and it was as glorious for me as it was for them. So that's for me.
Good job. Very nice. You want to pass it around? We got next guest. Name first, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Gordon Lippitz. No relation to the actor Ben Lippitz, but I've occasionally gotten some of his mail. I'm a retired veterinarian, and and I know a good number of people here, and I'm looking forward to spending so many nice days with you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shelley Factoro, and I'm a retired CPA. I've been a member of the JCC for many years, and I too know about those fellows here. I'm a good friend of Rob Sachs, and he's aggravated me. That's that Dave Wynn. So, hey guys, nice to meet you all.
You finally showed up.
I don't think he knows it yet, but he's our next treasurer.
Good morning. My name is Murray Kaufman. I'm originally out of Philadelphia.
I'm a retired CPA too. Hey.
I'm retired. Before I retired, I spent 30 years designing custom in-ground swimming pools.
Oh, how about that?
Join some of you guys. I'm glad to be here. I had not much of a social life because of my job until I retired, moved into New Jersey and discovered JCC, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I'm glad to be here.
Hi, my name is Bob Broga. I'm a retired electronics engineer. Spent 42 years working for Bell Labs and the Army. Met a lot of interesting people, did a lot of interesting travel, and I'm really glad to be here. I used to live in North Jersey. I moved down to Mount Laurel about 3 years ago. And I discovered the JCC, and I'm very happy to make the discovery.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Earl Kelser. I'm 20 years retired.
Walk into the mic, Erwin.
20 years retired from the military. I spent 20 years in the Army. I'm an X-ray tech, nuclear medicine tech, and did PET CT. That's it.
Where do you live?
I live right here in Voorhees.
Okay.
What Army were you in, Harris?
I want to welcome our two special guests who will be talking to us later, Wendy Hernberg, Marcy Lahav, Marcy Weiner Lahav. Richie Moskowitz. Richie's going to have a few words to say this morning. It's a sad day a year ago, and
today marks the one-year secular yahrzeit of those who died in the mass shooting that occurred at the Tree of Life, the Simcha congregation in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood of Pittsburgh. On October 27th, during Shabbat morning services, 11 people were killed and 6 were injured. It was the deadliest attack on the Jewish community in the United States ever. Yesterday we lit yahrzeit candles for our brothers and sisters murdered while celebrating Shabbos. Joyce Feinberg, 75, Richard Gottfried, 65, Rose Mallinger, 97, Jerry Rabinowitz, 66, Cecil Rosenthal, 59, David Rosenthal, 54, Bernice Simon, 84, Sylvan Simon, 86, Daniel Stein, 71, Melvin Wax, 88, and Irving Younger, 69. I'd like everyone to stand and say Kaddish. Yiskadal, Yiskadal, Shemei Rabo, Be'alma, Dira, Hirusei, Yamle, Makusei, Chai, Hom, Chai, Hom, Israel, Babalo, Isman, Kori, Vimru, Amen. Yehesh, Shmei, Rabo, Memorach, Leoma, Leomaya, Yisrach, Yisramam, Yisnasei, Yisgadar, Yismehel, Yisrael, Shemei, Kishol, Reku, Leilo, Mimo, Bevasa, Beshirasa, Tushramasa, Enemasa, Damiron, Yomar, Amen. Yehesh, Shmom, Rabba, Nishmaya, Chayim, Yaakov, Yisrael, Amen. Shalom, 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 Oleinu v'Yaakov Yisrael, Amen. Zichronom v'Charat. May the memories be an inspiration to all of us to pursue justice and peace and to hold fast to the sacred traditions that define and enable us. Thank you.
thanks, Richie. Just to remind everybody, if you haven't heard it or seen it on the web, 5 o'clock this evening, there's a web service. It's national. You can log in on the web. I know if you Google Pittsburgh service, you can join that service on the web from your home. For Motzi this morning, I want to introduce our Man of the Year. I want to introduce our Man of the Year. We had a board meeting a couple weeks ago, and we're going to have a dinner with Mid-Atlantic Region on December the 8th at Temple Beth Sholem. You'll all get some information on that shortly. We're going to have a dinner December the 8th with Mid-Atlantic Region of the Federation of Jewish Men's Club at Temple Beth Sholem, and we will send around some information on it. In any case, the Man of the Year is Richard Knopf, who was for many, many years our membership chairman, and who's responsible for a lot of you guys who are sitting here. I mean, I started 6-7 years ago. I think we had 50 members. We'd get 30 for breakfast. We have 120 some members. I don't know, we probably have 60 here today. So he's largely responsible for a lot of that. Dick, would you like to lead us in the Motzi, and we'll get breakfast business done.
I can't say my usual.
You can say whatever you want. You're the Man of the Year.
I just want to thank everybody for giving me this wonderful honor. I hope some of you will be able to join us. What is it, December 8th?
December 8th, Temple Beth Sholem, 4:30. I'll send out the information out.
Bring my wife. How about that? Okay, Baruch Atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. All right. Let's let the people who need a little help and who are a little infirm possibly go first. Give them a minute to get started, and then we'll run them over. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Take your seats, please. I just wanted to take a couple minutes and tell you what the men's club's been doing for the last week or two. And also recognize the people that were doing it. Gentlemen, guys on the side, thank you. I also wanted to do kind of a good and welfare. Sam Natal is here today. He hasn't been with us in a while. Say hi to Sam. Sam, good to hear you back. I don't know if anybody is here who hasn't been here a while, who was maybe had some medical situation. If you want to wave to us, wave to me and I'll recognize you. Rob Sachs, he's back. He wasn't really gone, but he's back.
There was no pretension.
Yeah, right. So I was talking about the sukkah out front and food bank. The sukkah, a bunch of us built the sukkah a couple weeks ago. I know the JCC appreciated. We got a nice note from Sabrina Spector letting us know. And we also participated at the same time in the food sort. Some of us were here on the Thursday before the food sort. This is all the food that's collected at all the synagogues. It was about 2 24-foot truckloads, I guess, by the time they put it in the trucks, took it to the food bank and so forth. So I know there were some members here. I know there were some members here who participated in that Thursday, making up boxes, bringing the food in from the trucks into the social hall here at the JCC. Sunday we were here, a bunch of us, and there must have been 100 volunteers, other groups and children and so forth, sorting all the food onto the tables by type of food, kosher, non-kosher, tomatoes, cereals, whatever. Then the food had to be put back on the trucks after it was sorted in cases, back on the trucks, back over to the food bank, which is on Route 70 between the old Ellisburg and racetrack circles in the office where our congressman, I guess, Senator Beach has his office. And then during the week after it appeared there, it needed to be unpacked, put on the shelves, properly put on the shelves so that the way that food bank is set up, upstairs is where the clients come in and pick up their food. Downstairs, it's a basement. The whole basement is food. And that's the overflow, and that they bring food from there upstairs for the clients. So it's quite an operation. I wanted to recognize everybody who either participated in building the sukkah or in the food sort. Would you just get up for a minute and say hi? We had a lot of these guys did both. So the other thing I wanted to do is recognize our food people one more time. I know we do this quite a bit, but there wouldn't be any food unless guys like Rich Moskowitz and Marty and Bob Greenberg and Dick Knopf went out and bought the food, brought it here. Then we have guys like Jay Sternchos and Abe Furtis and Eli too. Eli brings the bagels up. He helps Marty. He's Marty's assistant in picking up the bagels. And I'm sorry if I missed your name. Please stand up. Everybody who participates in putting this thing together every week. Thank you. Thank you all for your help. I think you've all seen an email, if you're looking at your emails. Fred Behrens, who is, I believe, 93 because he's having his 80th bar mitzvah. He is a Holocaust survivor. He's spoken to us here a couple of times, maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago, couple years before that. He speaks to groups every week about being a Holocaust survivor. They are celebrating his 80th anniversary of his bar mitzvah. There have been emails out. I know some of us are going to be there. I believe it's November 6th, right, 6th at Bethel. There's a donation required. I think it's $36. They're also looking for donations. They're making a film called Broken Glass. I'm not sure the whole title anymore. But in any case, we're going to send it out one more time. Look for it if you're interested. Please support. It's a very worthy cause. Also, he's going to be celebrating the anniversary of the bar mitzvah that following Saturday, which I guess is the 9th at Bethel. And obviously, you're all invited to come to synagogue and celebrate Fred's bar mitzvah with him. Stan, do you want to take a minute and tell us, we're obviously doing very well in membership and dues. I know there's probably some people who haven't paid their dues yet. Most people have.
Okay, for us, our dues, we have about 100 regular members and maybe 20 softball members. So putting the softball members aside, we pay a dues fee. We're about 70-75% paid up right now. So we're going to be following up on the other 30%, and hopefully we'll get everybody on board. So the breakfast going up from $7 to $8, I think 15% increase from 7 to 8 hasn't really hurt us any. I think we're going to be all right for this year.
Thank you. I just want to take a minute. It's important that you pay your dues. The breakfasts are kind of self-sustaining with the charge. Obviously, we've got all this free labor putting it together and so forth. The dues are used for some of our administrative purposes, insurance, so forth, and also for contributions that the club makes. So it's important you pay your dues. If you haven't paid them yet, please get them paid. I've introduced Dick as the Man of the Year. Obviously, there'll be some emails coming out on that shortly as to the costs and the venue and so forth. Was anybody else needed to get up? If not, I'll introduce our speaker. Mike's got a trip that he's been organizing.
Mike's been on a trip a long.
He's on a trip, yeah.
Hey, don't knock it unless you try it, all right?
I have.
Anyway, good morning, gentlemen. And I have, we had rescheduled the trip to the Science History Institute. If you recall, some months ago, we had a spokesperson come and tell us about what they do. And it's right across from the Revolutionary War Museum. And they have an extraordinary and a large museum, plus an incredible library and so many other things. They have roughly 50 programs a year. And we can go for a guided tour, and they can explain to some of the to us some of the other activities that they sponsor. And it'll be on Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning, November 12th. I'm going to pass around a sheet. Wives or spouses or significant others are invited. Please put down on the paper, I have 3 of them. I thought we were going to have 3 rows, but if you're going to be able to go. Oh, there's a huge cost, I'm sorry, $2. But we can arrange loans, we'll have an ATM set up. Okay. Perhaps we can arrange a scholarship.
I don't think so.
Okay. How many people think they might be able to attend? Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. So today we have not one speaker, but 2 actually. We're going to start off with Wendy Hernberg. Wendy is the coordinator of Take the Wheel, which is a transportation program for veterans to transport them to their medical appointments, to the VA hospital in Philadelphia, Seoul, Marlton, wherever they need to go. She also coordinates the senior transportation to doctor's appointments and so forth. I know some of us work with Wendy pretty closely and help her out when she needs drivers. I've talked to you about this before. Wendy's going to give you a better idea of what the program's all about. Wendy?
So my name's Wendy Hernberg. I've been working with JFCS for a year now, so I'm very new. So I've been working with JFCS for a year now. So I'm very new. This is the first presentation I've actually done for them. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Cherry Hill. I was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, but by the time I was 8, I moved to Cherry Hill. I graduated Cherry Hill High School East, class of '88, so now you know how old I am. And I live here with my husband and 2 kids and lots of friends in Cherry Hill, so I happen to still love Cherry Hill. All right, so let's see if this clicker works. All right, so what I do at the JFCS is I coordinate medical rides given by volunteers of the JFCS. So I have 2 volunteers here now specifically for driving, and that's Ed and David. And who do we give rides to? Our senior clients. And then I also organize a veteran, I manage the veteran transportation. The difference between the 2 is the seniors, you have to be a senior, I think it's 65 or over. The veterans, however, do not, there is no age limit on veterans. I actually have a woman who's in her 40s and she needs a ride places. I think Ed's driven her a few times. So veterans, there's no age requirement. It does have to be on both divisions, it has to be to medical transportation. So a doctor, a dentist, counseling services. Right here we have counseling at the JFCS. And also support groups that we have. Right now I just do one support group, which is a low vision support group, and they have, I think, about 20 members, and they're growing. So volunteers will pick them up. These are people who can't drive, they're almost blind, and they come once a month to meet for a support group, and that's great for them. So we try to help them as well. So why volunteer? All right, there's a bunch of great reasons up there. I'm going to put Ed and Dave on the spot for a second. David, why did you volunteer for the driving program?
I wanted to give back to the community. The community's always been good to me, and now that I'm retired, I decided to go out and help driving both the Take the Wheel program veterans and some of the elderly to doctor's appointments that I find out are younger than I am. So in any event,
yeah.
that's what I did.
And is Ed still here?
Yeah, he's here.
All right, Ed.
Well, I started, I guess the impetus was the veterans program when that started. I never served in the armed forces. I did a little bit of ROTC at the University of Delaware for 2 years because it was required. But I never served in the armed forces, and I thought, well, you know what, here's an opportunity to honor our armed forces and help them get where they need to get for medical attention. And then kind of morphed into the other program, the senior program. And you just meet some really interesting people. I mean, you know, most of us here are probably the same age as some of the people we transport, and then there's other people. I mean, I've transported 93-year-olds, 95-year-olds. I had a great veteran one day who I transported to an appointment at Lourdes, which is now virtually out by the Ellisburg Circle, and he had his hat on, and he served in the Pacific, and we sat down, and a guy came over to me and said, would you mind if I brought my father over to meet your father? And I said, well, he's not my father, but I'm sure he can bring him over. Here comes this guy over who's also in his 90s, who also served in the Pacific. So I had these 2 90-some-year-old veterans. meeting, obviously for the first time they both live in South Jersey, but in any case, it's just giving back. Some of us have time. I know I have time. I make time. And it's a nice thing to do to, help these people out and get to the doctor. They can't afford it, a lot of them.
And so I often try to, when I get to meet new members, new volunteers, which isn't all the time because I'm just part-time, but when I do get to meet them, I like to, ask them why. And these are some of the quotes that I've had. So I've had one guy say, after working for so many years, about 2 years into retirement, he was just looking for a purpose again. Life has been very good to me and I want to give back to others. Meeting new people makes every day a new adventure. And my personal favorite, when I get to those pearly gates, I hope to see someone remembers my good deeds over my bad ones. I thought that was funny. All right, so why do we need volunteers? This is why. I have twice as many clients right now. Clients is the orangish color versus volunteers. Now, clients may not need rides all the time. We have clients that just, maybe every 3 months they have to see someone, and then I have clients who sometimes could see a doctor every single week. Right now, we can only give 1 ride per week. Even if someone called me up and needed 2 rides, we just don't have enough volunteers. I can't take 2 rides a week because it may mean someone else wouldn't get a ride. So right now our restriction is we offer 1 ride per week. So once in a while they need 2, but there's, sometimes I'll work with them to see what other transportation we could get for them. The veterans, the same thing. I actually have definitely more veterans than I do volunteers. I'm new to the veteran program. When I took the job a year ago, I thought I was just going to do the seniors, and I was fine with that. And they asked me, Sherry's my director, Sherry Jonas, a lot of you may know her. She had been given some additional responsibilities, so she asked me if I would take over the veteran program. And without even hesitation, I said absolutely. My grandfather was in World War II. My dad was in the reserves. I was never in it, but I have a lot of respect for everybody who was. And I just jumped on the opportunity to serve our veterans who served us for so many years. I circled the number 21. I'm proud of that right now. As to date, since I took the veteran position, which was around January, I signed up 21 veterans so far. So I'm growing in veterans, but I'm not growing in volunteers. And the worst part about my job is that if I have to tell someone no, that I can't find them a ride to where they need to be. It's the worst part. I have to admit, I've literally hired Uber to drive them and followed Uber the whole way to make sure that they got to where they have to go. Don't tell my boss that, though. So this is a flyer which is on all the tables. So this is specifically for our Take the Wheel program, which is our veteran program. And I have to give kudos to Nelson because I met with Nelson months ago and learned that he actually helped start this program. So if you have any questions, refer them to Nelson, please. So the flyer's on the table. I don't have to go over it. I just circled some of the criteria. So you do have to have a clean driving record. Okay, so one of the reasons this is important, and I'll try to keep it very, 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 very simple, but right before I started, like 2 months before I started, JFCS, specifically Sherry Jonas, was on a task to find a program, because it used to be, match, Sally with volunteer David was all done by hand and Excel spreadsheets, and it was very complicated to Sherry would have to call everyone, are you available Tuesday at 10 o'clock to go to, Penn Medical Center. So they found a software program that's specifically for transportation, and it's called Ride Scheduler. The clients call me up, I put the appointment, all the details in Ride Scheduler, and then once a week, I send out an email that looks exactly like this. This is current, by the way. We have a Tuesday opening, Dave, at Tuesday opening. Okay. So this is what it looks like, and you can, two ways. You can either click on the accept button, which is all the way to the left. Click on that, and then you become the volunteer driver. Or you can actually log into your account from that JFCS New Jersey.securescheduler.org. And then you could see all the availability, you could see your schedule. If you have 3 appointments on Tuesday, 2 appointments next week, it will tell you who, when, where. If there's I'm gonna try this little pointer here. The way top button, okay. All right, so this right here, and actually I don't know if Ed and David know this either. If you click on that, it will actually take you to Google Maps, and you could see how many miles apart they are, how long it should take you to get there. So it's all a great, great, great system. But that's the information. I just redacted the addresses and the people's names. So it's very easy. So if you get an email once a week, it's at your leisure to say, oh, I could take that one on Thursday. Okay, and so I won't be calling you unless you want me to call you, because believe me, I have clients that or volunteers that don't like to use the computer, and that's fine. If that's the case, then I'll call you. If you tell me Thursdays are your good day and I have an opening for someone that needs a ride on a Thursday, then I will call you. So it's optional. I love the program. It makes it very efficient, but we don't have to use just the program. Okay, so that is pretty much for the presentation. I try to keep it very simple. I have 10 minutes, but I do have the next slide. Questions? Okay.
Wendy?
Yeah.
May I could just say something about the program for everybody. I'm not a computer maven either, but that program is so simple, and it automated everything. I mean, I worked with Wendy when she was still calling Ed. It was kind of a pain for everybody.
Yeah, and half the time I called people, they didn't have their schedule in front of them. They'd have to call me back anyway.
This is so simple. You sit at the computer once a week. She sends out an email. It lists 2, 3, 4, 5 people who need rides. You look at the times that they have to be at the doctor. You look at where they're going. You know, if you don't want to accept a ride to take somebody to the VA in Philly, you don't accept a ride. You accept a ride to take them to Marlton or something like that. It is so simple. It works. You get an email right away that says, you've accepted the ride. Here's all the information. The only other thing besides transporting the person is you call them and say, hey, I'm going to take you to your appointment. I'm from JFCS. I'll pick you up in the lobby of the Saltzman House. I'm driving a blue SUV. It can't be any simpler.
Okay. No, I thought the questions were for you.
I just wanted to make sure that we clarify the veterans as well as senior programs, not just for Jewish people.
Correct.
For everybody, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
And it's the way we are in the community. We take care of everybody.
So, is the volunteer driver driving to the appointment and then waiting around until it's finished and then taking them back?
Yes, that's usually the easiest way for it to be. I'm willing, I mean, you guys are volunteers, so really I'm at your mercy. If you can only do one way and you tell me I could drive, Sally one way to her doctor appointment, I could try to split that into 2 trips. So someone's driving Sally there and someone's driving Sally back. But generally, I think that people like having the company though.
So a lot of times, I'm sorry, this is 2 questions, but a lot of times, last minute or last week before an appointment, some of these people will change their schedule either on the doctor's side or on the patient side, and decide something has to change. So how does that get, how do you get notified if you've already picked up your weekly schedule?
Wait, yeah, so...
You have an appointment to see somebody on Thursday. The driver's already made arrangements almost a week before. And then that person gets a phone call or something else in their life occurs on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that appointment's not going to be kept by that patient with that doctor.
Oh. Then, yeah, usually the client will call me and say, I can't go on Tuesday, and then, oh, it just happened. Yeah, it just happened.
This week I got a call, I had a 10 o'clock drive, and she got like a last minute cancellation the evening before. She called me and said, you don't have to drive tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've never shown up where the person, and and David, I don't know if you have had a person who just, but I've done a lot of rides. The only one that I can remember where he forgot and he came down and he had to go back upstairs and we were on time anyway. I mean, most of these people know they're going, and you talk to them a couple days before, remind them, tell them who the doctor is. Sometimes there may be a little confusion. Am I going to see Dr. Rosen today or Dr. Schmidt? No, it says here, Dr. Rosen, that's where I'm taking you unless...
Well, they might have made 2 appointments.
They may have multiple appointments.
If I see a pattern of someone canceling last minute, I'll keep on top of that. My emails go directly to my phone, so I have no problem with calling Ed at night on my cell phone and saying, don't pick up Sally tomorrow. But if I see a pattern of it, then I'll be more cognitive to call them myself and talk to them about it, or confirm the morning of to make sure that they're there. But right now, it's not a problem.
Seems to work pretty well.
Oh, sorry, you've had your hand up for a while.
If the people are really desperate, if you're really running into a problem, I'd be willing to call you for a lift and pay for them to get a lift to see where they're going, and manage it. Because the problem we run into is, if you ask for donations or something like that, people will be generous. I've had experience with people being generous.
He had mentioned that he would be willing, if he didn't have the time per se to drive someone, that he'd be willing to pay for Uber to go and get them. I'm not a lawyer, I'm more of an accounting side person. However, we did have someone come in from California. So the JFCS from California, they have a phenomenal program out there where they actually own shuttles and they hire drivers, and were you at that? Yeah, so she was phenomenal. So they actually do work over there. I guess Lyft is more popular. So they work with Lyft, and they could do and they use Ride Scheduler. Actually, we learned that the person who wrote the program for Ride Scheduler, that's how he started the program. His wife was a volunteer driver, and she was, using emails and Excels to remember what appointment she had. And he said, there's got to be an easier way. And he wrote this program, and now he sells, the program to anyone who could benefit from the logistics for the driving. So it hasn't happened yet, and I think there might be some legal issues, and definitely and I know I've talked to my seniors just to get to know them, and I asked them, and some of them are afraid to get especially the older women, they're afraid to get in a car with a stranger. So what we love about our volunteers is they have background checks, and we know them personally, so no one's afraid to get in a car with any of our volunteers. Yes, but it may come down the road as long as we can keep control of the situation. Okay.
I'm guessing that there are situations where people need more physical help. Like, for instance, I'm thinking of my daughter driving. She drives an SUV. So,
good question.
Do you know, who would be able to get into an SUV and who would?
Yes, I do. I asked them that in the beginning because and I should have mentioned there are people that don't qualify for a program, and if you're in a wheelchair, if you can't physically get in and out of the car, because we would never expect our volunteers to take the responsibility of getting someone in and out of the car. So you have to be able to transport, and we will not drive anyone if they're going to undergo surgery. So if they're going to undergo sedation or anesthesia, we won't drive them because it becomes a liability. And I do get a lot of calls for that, but it's not clients. It's just people, I guess, like, I think the Veterans Hospital is giving my number out, and people say, I have a surgery, in 2 weeks, and I need someone to drive me. And as soon as they say surgery, I have to stop them and say, okay, first of all, you have to get into our you have to, for a veteran or a senior, before they can even sign up to be in our program, they have to come in or meet with a JFCS social worker. They have to do a cognitive test. We monitor them to make sure that they're in good standing and good health, so they're safe with our volunteers. Like, our main concern is our volunteers and keeping our volunteers safe.
Did you pick them up for that appointment?
Excuse me?
Pick them up for that appointment?
For the interview appointment.
Oh, we do, actually, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. We, because we can't have a volunteer go and get them, we haven't given them the cognitive test and whatever tests the social workers do. Yes, we actually get a discounted rate through Best Taxi, and we pay for that out of the funds that we have for the program. Yeah, good question.
One more.
Okay.
Just a
sorry.
comment. This is an incredibly valuable service. Speaking from the doctor's point of view, some of my patients would never get there without this kind of help. Sometimes it's a physical issue, very often with what I do. It's a visual issue. We can't let these people drive. We need people with good vision to get these people to the office. It does make a difference. So if we can, it's well worthwhile. The patients appreciate it. I appreciate it. So please think of it.
Thank you. I also just wanted to mention everyone here it's a pen in the wrapper. There was a slide, but it's okay. If you notice not where the tip comes out, but the top part of it, it's not an eraser, it's a stylus. So it will work on your iPad, on your phone. It's the same thing as your finger, I guess, but it's more accurate. So it's a pen with a stylus at the other end. So just had to mention that in case you were wondering why it looks so funny. Okay, well, thank you everyone for having me.
Thank you, Wendy. I just want to tell you, Dave and I compete for the best driver, and so far he's way ahead of me. We transport a lot of the same people sometimes, but he's their favorite. So I'm trying harder, and hopefully I'll catch up to him. David, would you like to introduce her?
Hi, good morning. Marcy Weiner Lahav is JCC Adult Cultural and Judaica Director. Please welcome Marcy.
Okay. I know many of you, and I'm so glad to see you. Many of you are volunteers and are members of many things that we do at the JCC, and I thank you for that. I was told to give a bio first. I would not have otherwise have done this, so I'll make it very fast. I'm originally from Philadelphia. Who's from Philadelphia? All right. My love and respect for the older adult population began with visiting my paternal grandfather at the Jewish geriatric home. Who knows that? Yay! Isn't there anymore, but nonetheless. Then it was my father's involvement in B'nai B'rith. Who's a B'nai B'rith or was a B'nai B'rith member? That gave me my love of Judaism. And then it was my husband who found the job I currently have in The Voice that combined my love for Judaism and my love for older adults. I have been working in this field for 36 years. I know I don't look like that, but I am now more than old enough to be one of my own members. And I'm proud of that, very much so. I have lived in Israel. I have lived on a kibbutz. We were supposed to return to Israel, and economically it was just much easier for us to stay here. And I'm glad that we did and found ourselves in this community that also helped us to raise our children. I have 2 wonderful boys and my first grandchild. Yay! And there's nothing like a grandchild. That being said, I have been at the JCC for 21 years now, which is why I do know a lot of you guys. And I want to say thank you to the South Jersey Men's Club. Even though for every time we have a discussion, I need 6 of you to give me your opinion. I do adore you, and you get a lot done. And I thank you very, very much for all of the volunteer work you do. And I would like to give you a gift. For all of you who are here today, do you know who Bud Selig is? Okay, Commissioner of Baseball. I did not know that until he wrote a book, and he was part of our Arts, Books, and Culture Festival, but nonetheless, he is coming this Wednesday. And the cost to a JCC member is $30 with a book, and for a guest, $40 with a book. If you sign up with me today, and because of our thank you to all that you do, because that sukkah this year would not have been built, and if it was built, it would still be standing if it wasn't for you guys. That is for sure. I will give you this ticket for $10 without a book, because of all that you do. But you have to sign up with me today, okay? So, you asked me, and I hope I won't bore you. Some of you have seen parts of this. I will try to make it as interesting as possible. What do? A lot of people think, people come and they go to the meal program, they go to a couple of discussion groups, and that's it. We are a lot more than that. There's this great book by Dr. Mark Agrenon. He said, old is the problem. Yeah, we're getting older. We're feeling those aches and pains. Things are changing. But aging, obviously, I put in parentheses, at the JCC is the solution. What does that mean? Thank God we are living long enough to get older. But the solution is, how do we age? How do we make that aging worth our while and quality? And one of those things is to volunteer. So, you will see some familiar people in these pictures. We have 2,060 plus members that are part of our programming. You are a force to reckon with. Our mission is to be the central location for premier socialization, recreational, wellness, and cultural programming for adults of all ages and abilities, with the goal of promoting Jewish culture, heritage, and values. We engage and enrich the lives of all adults who participate. This young lady here is now 101 years old, and she credits her age as she moved here around 15 years ago. She swims 3 days a week, she does art, she wins awards, and you need her to come and find you volunteers, because the day doesn't go by, and some of you are here, right, Bert, that she finds people to take her wherever she wants to go. She can charm anyone. Okay, what do? Daily socialization and classes, daily kosher lunch program on site. We serve 15,000 meals a year. And we have Sue Shumas, Stan's wife, who volunteers at least 3 to 5 days a week in our program for not only our meals, but our library. Table tennis, 3 social clubs, 2 singles clubs, 1 couples club. Couples club is 75 members. Many of you are couples club members. Many of those members are our leaders. Group liaison, not only for the South Jersey Men's Club, but also the Jewish War Vets. And I don't know if you know this, but in our monthly newsletter, Rob Sachs writes an article every month about the South Jersey Men's Club. And I hope, and we make hundreds of those newsletters and distribute them, I'm hoping that some of the new members are as a result of that. Trips to theaters, museums, year-long, lifelong learning classes, cards and games, weekly discussion groups, chair exercise, weekly tradition activities, singing, Yiddishkeit, holiday celebrations, weekly creative craft classes, weekly chair yoga classes, weekly Pilates fusion class, motivation and movement, AIM newsletter, cultural programming, arts, books, and culture, which is coming up, And I have all kinds of brochures here. So Bud Selig is kind of like our pre-arts, books, and culture author. Then we have an entire week-long event. Cherry Hill Volvo Cars Jewish Film Festival, some of you are on that committee. Library, art gallery. Judaic programming, we do all the holidays here. The FIDF, Israel Connections, volunteer and leadership opportunities, collaborative programming with JFCS, Cafe Connection. Some of you have been participants in that. That is for care partners and their loved ones with memory challenges. And once a month, we have them come here. We need volunteers for that. We offer all kinds of artistic programming for them, particularly music. Music is the gateway to the heart, regardless of your abilities or your inabilities. We have, I am the peer supervisor also for HOD, the special needs department, and we integrate 2,000 older adults into overall Federation programming. So, funding sources. Obviously the Federation, and I just want to give a plug to the Saltzman Foundation. We are a very lucky community. They also fund JFCS, many of our day schools. We could not be who we are today and the leaders in the Judaic field without contributions from the Saltzman Foundation. And I cannot speak highly enough. Also, with my Older Adult Committee, and you are more than welcome to become a part of the Older Adult Committee. A number of those members are here. We meet once every other month, and we solve all the problems of the 60-plus population at the JCC. And as a result, we have an endowment fund. We are the only department with an endowment fund. And we are over $250,000 now. And that endowment fund will enable us as funds shrink. We used to get United Way funding. We don't anymore. Saltzman has totally just flatlined their contributions to us. We serve more people, and for the last 10 years, I've been using the same amount of money. So we have to find other ways. That's human services. That's what we're all about. We get contributions. We get grants. And just recently, Camden County has taken over our meal program. And finally, we are getting subsidized more substantially for those meals. It is still a deficit-funded program. It doesn't mean we're going to stop it. Okay, just a snapshot. 19% of our community is 60-plus years of age and older. By 2025, this population will rise to 25%. It is really important for us to recognize families, young families, really important in our culture. But you all have heard about the boomers, and we just started extensive boomer programming, and I have a brochure about that also. Those of us born between 1946 and 1964 is the largest population contingency that anywhere in the world, internationally and nationally, it is the largest population ever. And you know, after World War II, my parents had the boomer generation. And we are a force to reckon with, and our programming has to now reflect those needs. New Jersey places 9th in the United States in individuals ages 65 years and older. New Jersey is one of the tiniest states. That's remarkable. Then, age 85, every other year I do a survey, is the largest growing cohort in New Jersey and in our center. When I did the last survey of 500 people responded, the average age was 84. There was no other population that was 60 plus that we could have these kind of statistics. The average life expectancy for females rose to 84.9, but men are catching up. Their average age is 82.2. These are I love data, because from that data, we then build our programs. Okay, what happened?
You broke it.
There we go. I just want this, again, I love statistics. You don't have to love statistics, but this is the profile of 60-plus population at the JCC. So in 2013, when we did the age of 71 to 80, the responses was 43%. In 2018, it was 47%. Now, mind you, I consider 71 to 80 to be the younger, older population. So that's not bad, right? So we're all really young who are sitting here today. Obviously, there's a growth in that younger, older. Female population, it's a national number. Coming to these programs, typically it's more women than men. We have a decrease in Burlington County and an increase from Camden County. What's really fascinating, if you see those who attend 1 to 2 days a week is 60%, and 3 to 4 days is 40%. There's no other program at the JCC other than early childhood where kids come 3 to 5 days a week, where people not only have been coming, and if you look down below, years attended, 33% have attended for 16 plus years. So it's not only the years, the amount of years that they attend, but also the frequency of attendance. Okay, but things are changing. When I started 21 years ago, in SoCREC, which is our daily programming, our transportation, which is to and from the JCC, and our meals, we had 700 plus people in 1998. That's because back then there wasn't all the competition. There weren't all these fitness clubs. The synagogues weren't doing kind of mini JCC programming. We were the only game in town. So people came to our daily programming. In 2018, that number that comes to those programs went down significantly in 2018 to 300 plus. But the trips and lifelong learning in 1998, which was 300 to 500, in 2018, it is now 2,000 because you guys are busy. You're volunteering, you're taking care of grandkids, some of you are still working, some of you are semi-retired. So you pick and choose, which is why now in lifelong learning we're having a lot of one-shot deals, because you can come in for one day, you can take the time off for a couple of hours, see, something about Greta Garbo, Marilyn Monroe, whatever your interest is, and then you can go and do your stuff. So obviously, we have to continue changing things. So you've seen, those of you who've been around, a significant changing in our staff. Not so important. So no, now we have to look for new and renewed revenue as other revenue is shrinking. So we mentioned the Tree of Life. We're reinvigorating the arts, books, and culture in a lot of our programming. We're increasing the benefits to members, so the differential. So for instance, if you're a member and you go to a lifelong learning class, the class could be $20, whereas for a non-member, it might be $35 or $40. And you can be an adult affiliate member if you're 60 years of age and older for $136 a year. And if that's an issue for you, I can give you a scholarship. Between you and I, confidential. I don't ask for any information. I trust you. We're having more evening classes to attract working adults. We're redefining what the adult affiliate membership is. And at any time, if you have questions, please ask me. And I'm only talking fast because I want to keep your attention, and I want to keep your attention. And we do a lot of creative grant writing, and we do a lot of collaborations. We collaborate with JFCS a lot. We collaborate with JCRC a lot, with Federation Housing, because my feeling is, together we stand. Okay, so strategic goals for the future. Again, if you were on our adult committee, and many of you are here today, and many of the rest of you are more than welcome to come and give us your thoughts. Because I know none of you are shy in giving me your thoughts, and we need them. We have to break down the stereotypes. A lot of people think our programming is for the old. If I had time, I would take some of the programming. I only get to see a lot of Broadway plays because I have to work them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the chance to do that. So, because you are redefining the aging process, all of you sitting in this room, even the younger ones, because you now are role modeling for the 40 and 50-year-olds when they come and say, hey, I'm 78 and I'm driving a veteran to their medical appointments. You're 78 and you're still driving? You are well, in some cases, yes, it's laughable, but in most cases, it's okay. I want to redefine the aging process as a stage and not an age. I told you about a 101-year-old who comes here to swim 3 days a week. And yet I have people who have severe strokes in their 40s and 50s that come to our programming. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with ability. We have to develop alternative sources of revenue. And we have to educate the community and lay leaders on our strengths and our diversity. And I know the South Jersey Men's Club is involved in a lot of political stuff and Israel-based things. And we have to keep those important things alive with our advocacy, with our support. And we have to build on our strengths. And our strengths, lifelong learning, our arts, books, and culture, our film festival. And we have to continue to grow innovative and collaborative programming. And this is where you guys come in. When I do the surveys, when I talk to you individually, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do we have to change? I want you to know it's because of Barney Kaplan. I came here and was going to give you Bud Selig for $20, and he said, they're not going to come for $20, but they'll come for $10. So that's why I changed it to $10, because I'd rather you come than not come. The programming's not for me, it's for you. So this is just a snapshot of our members, some of whom we celebrated this gentleman's 100th birthday, we celebrated this gentleman's 98th birthday. We have some couples club people here. We modify exercises. So now 5 days a week, we have our own exercise program. And we're all about celebrating, exercising, learning, traveling, teaching, volunteering, socializing, creating, and redefining what aging is all about. Thank you. Any questions? And you can see the oi there because it's still oy vey a lot of days, nonetheless. Yes?
I don't think we're getting older, we're getting younger.
Say that again.
We're not getting older, we're getting younger.
You know what? I always say to people, we're not getting old. We're always getting older from the day we're born, but we're not getting old.
That's why in Hebrew you don't say how old you are.
That's right. What do you say in Hebrew?
How old? What is your age?
That's right. You don't say how old you are. What is your age? Absolutely. I saw some other hands.
My father, this was years ago, he said, Rich, don't get old. I don't know what he's talking about, but I know what he means. You can get older in age, but don't get old in your person.
That's right. Rich was, for better or for worse, he was the president of our former men's club, and his wife is a volunteer for many things we do. So if you remember in the beginning, it's all about age is the problem, right? How we age is the solution. I saw some other hands. I didn't answer all your questions, did I?
Do you do any type of intervention if you see people coming who are losing it, so to speak, in every way, shape, or form?
Absolutely. I'm a trained social worker, but my job has become over the years more administrative, which is why 2 days a week we have Ellen Gartzman, one of the nurses at JFCS, come to our program. And she becomes my conduit, my liaison. I meet with her monthly with my staff, and we talk about people we're concerned about. Okay. People that we're concerned about. And I find out whether they're already hooked up to our system, and meaning JFCS, if they need counseling, etc. I can do the basic overview, but I don't have the time and the resources at my level at this point to then hook them up to resources. That's JFCS. So that's why the collaboration is so important, because if you remember the statistics that people are staying with us for a long time, and we are watching them as they're changing. We're always changing every single day. And so we try to have in our system a continuum of care. We have housing resources, we have social, recreational, educational resources, and we have counseling resources. So at any point where you come to the system at any age, we try to hook you up to the relevant resources. Does that answer your question? Okay. Mr. Hero.
What is the future like for the Jewish Community Center and all the programs? What does the future look like? Are you seeing more non-Jews as members? The statistics in terms of the Jewish population obviously is changing. More Orthodox Jews, fewer Reform, and so forth.
That's a great question. Yeah, there's a lot of changes going on. Aside from the competition, all the Lifetime Fitness, all the gyms that are popping up on every street corner next to a Starbucks. Sometimes the Starbucks, yes, is in there. You're absolutely right. Things that we're doing in our department have to be done with the JCC, continue to redefine ourselves. So yes, there has been an increase in the non-Jewish population. We're a business, but we maintain our Jewish values. So I can say right now, off the top of my head, the non-Jewish population is somewhere in 20% range. There are JCCs where neighborhoods have changed so significantly that the non-Jewish population actually overrides the Jewish population. We are far from that, but there is a plan in sight for increasing once again the JCC and increasing some of the health and wellness. And also there's now somebody who's been hired, and this is something that is near and dear to me. We used to have an adult daycare program, if you remember Brockfeld House, which was housed in the JGH. And when they moved to Lionsgate, they dismissed it, and those of us in the field really feel there's a need, because there are people coming to the JCC who have needs greater than our program can provide. So now we're going to have an adult daycare program in our community again that is under the Jewish Federation and will have the Jewish mission. So those are just some of the ideas. And the parking lot, I know it is a hot button issue. 8 years later, it is closer than it's ever been. Apparently the county and the township have had all different kinds of rules and regulations, and I know that my friend Rob Sachs and my friend Shelley Factoro are going saying some not so nice words about the parking. But the parking lot is an issue, because we're always told to keep on growing our programs. Well, you want us to grow our programs, but then people can't find parking. So that's something else that hopefully next year, if you ask me to come back a year from now to tell you about other changes, hopefully we'll have an expanded parking lot at that point. Any other questions? Nelson, you don't have a question?
I'm trying to give you a break right now, because the next session you're going to need to ask a question.
Well, there is this wonderful Women in the Military program that is happening after this. Are you just stretching and trying to stay awake? I get it. So if you still have energy to be here for yet another wonderful program, please do so. And because we couldn't be here in the land of the free and the home of the brave without the Jewish war vets. Thank you.
He wants me to stay up here. So we'd like to give you a certificate of appreciation to each of our speakers, a year's membership in the men's...
Wait for the camera.
In appreciation for being here today and enlightening us about the JCC, we'd like to give each of you a year's membership and a certificate of appreciation in the men's club. Wendy Hernberg.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Marcy Weiner. And thank you very much for coming today. Marcy, would you stay with us for a minute? Wendy, you want to come back? Me and the ladies, I love it.
One more. Watch the hands. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask Bob Greenberg to come up for just a minute and tell us a little bit about our philanthropic program that we've been discussing at meetings over the last few months, and just give us a general idea of what we're doing.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. As you recall, we did some balloting a couple of meetings ago, and I'm sure you're all dying to know the results of the balloting.
Don't even remember.
Oh, some of you don't remember that you got up this morning, so there. Okay.
What do you think I would name it?
Trump wins again.
If you remember the ballots, we were voting as to what areas we wanted our philanthropic committee to concentrate on for the purpose of giving. We had local, we had national, we had Israeli. The results of the balloting are as follows. The vast majority of the people voted for local. National and Israeli tied. Now, in connection with the fact that you overwhelmingly voted for local, I'm going to turn it over to Ed, who has our first giving presentation to make.
Thank you. So in connection with the local giving and Marcy being here today, we'd like to present her with $1,000 toward the senior nutrition program, which I know is very dear to her heart. And that's the program where the seniors come for lunch and socialize and get reduced cost lunches. In addition to that, a number of our members gave me individual checks also for the program. And I'd like to give you those. Thank you, whoever donated. There's still time. We'll take cash, checks, gold bars, whatever you have.
Bill?
Okay, and then if
Can I just say, first of all, thank you.
Come over here.
We don't think about people in our own community being malnourished. It doesn't have anything to do about income. This program is not income-based. It's only age-based. You only have to be 60 years of age and older. It comes down to when many people find themselves living alone. It's very lonely. They're alone. They don't eat right. It's not fun eating, and so much of the meal program is about socializing and meeting other people and being part of the community. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of those people who are living longer as a result of this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcy, would you stay up here? We have our 50-50 pool. Stan, and pick a winner for us. And I'm gonna take the facsimile check back. The real one's in the mail.
I've heard that before. Thank you.
So if you will choose someone.
I love all of you.
Stan, how much is the 50-50?
53.
53 is the winning share.
Okay. I love all of you, so don't think that this is a favorite, okay?
Last three numbers, please.
283.
283. Anybody? Maybe me. Let me look. No? Somebody? Maybe.
Is it this young man right here? Okay.
I think he's got it.
Okay.
He can't read the numbers. I think so. I think we got a winner. All right, very good. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Marcy.